So,
Yeah, little name drop. Emma Stone also went to Value Theater.
welcome to another episode of Coffee Break Convos with Jessica. Today, my guest is Annie Karstens. She's an actress in Los Angeles who's starred in shows like This Is Us, Quiz Lady, Paradise, and over 100 commercials throughout her entire life. She recently wrapped her gig on season 2 of the hit drama series Matlock with Kathy Bates. So, welcome, Annie. Thank you so much for coming on to my show.
Thank you for having me.
So, I just want to start from the absolute beginning. When did you start acting? When did this love come about?
I was 11 years old, and my mom brought me to community theater to audition for Pinocchio because I was a little bit shy. And I remember singing a song from Beaches and staring at the ground. That was
Oh,
my
wow.
first audition. But I got a part, not a lead role. It was like townsperson number 7, but there she was.
So that is your, would you consider that your first job, or would you consider a paid job your first job?
Girl, that was my first job. That was my first job. I was an actor. I was showing up to rehearsals. I was doing, gosh, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 shows a week. I was there. I was
Yes.
11. Killed it. And then I stayed at that same theater group until I graduated high school.
Ooh, wow.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Little name drop. Emma Stone also went to Value Theater.
that's cool.
Little claim to fame, little name drop, shameless.
Oh yeah, because you grew up in Arizona, right? And she
Uh-huh.
also
I
she
grew up
also
in
grew up in
Phoenix.
Arizona. Yeah.
Yeah. So same community theater group, and she thanked our director in her Oscar speech, and we all like lost our minds. So she's definitely, remembered us.
Oh, that is so cool. I bet you were in like a same production or class with her or anything.
I was older. I came
Okay.
later, but we did do a reunion show together. God, I can't remember the year because I'm old. But yeah, she came back to do like it was a reunion fundraiser, and she came back and we all like performed different numbers from our shows.
Oh, that is
That was cool.
so amazing.
And
Oh
we hung
my
out
gosh.
after. Yeah, it was so
Okay.
cool.
Oh my gosh, all the inside deets. Okay. So, what's one lesson you took away from your first ever role experience?
That I loved it and wanted to do it forever. That was really the lesson. We can talk about the professional jobs and stuff too, but
Hmm.
when you get plugged into something so young that like hits you that hard, like right in the guts, and you meet people that you didn't think existed, and you're like, oh my God, these are my people. I found my people. You do not let go. You just dig in, man. You stay. And we're all still friends today. Yeah.
I mean, since then, you've done, like I mentioned, over 100 commercials. That, like, what makes a person stand out in commercial auditions, and what are some common mistakes that you've seen actors make?
You're going to get a lot of opinions on this because, first of all, every casting office is different. Every casting office has their, like, oh, I love when actors do this. And then another casting director might be like, oh, I hate when actors do that. So take that with a grain of salt. But I think the most important thing and the best way to stand out, and this is going to sound so cliche, but hopefully I can explain a way where it's not, is to be yourself. And if it's a crazy character or someone off the top, be yourself in that character. Like commercials are authentic. And people don't think that. It's like people still think commercials are like the old 90s, like cheesy grin, bite and smile. It's not that way anymore. You really have to come in authentic and yourself. I didn't have a lot of success when I first came to LA because I was trying to be anybody but me, literally. Like the hair was wrong. I tried to dye my hair. I had the weird eyelashes. I had the funky nails. I had the too overplucked eyebrows. I was trying to be like, it was not me.
But I mean, like this industry makes you think that you have to be like that, right? To
It's
get a
not, I
job.
guess so. But I think the tide is changing, Jessica. I think people are realizing that being authentic is your superpower. Like just being you, your baseline you, because, and I've said this before, if you go into a commercial audition as you, well, then you have no competition, literally, because there is not another one of you out there. You might be looking at a room full of people in your type and your archetype, whatever that word is. But like it's you. So if you commit to being like, I'm gonna bring what I got to the table today, well then congrats, you're the only one because there's only one you. Now, if you go there thinking, oh, I got to be like her, I'm going to try to be like her, I'm going to try to give them exactly this and this, well, then it's going to be kind of messy, right? A little convoluted. But yeah,
Hmm.
I think that's the best way to stand out is just to be yourself. Now, are there parameters on that? Like, sure. Like my baseline, Jessica, is not cool. I have zero chill. Like I have no cool. There's no cool in me. So do I have to kind of like find the cool sometime? Yes. Like if I walk in, I went to a callback. The director was in the callback. It was Rami Youssef. And it was like, and and me, Annie, was like, oh my gosh, that's crazy. Annie like showing up, it's like, oh hey man, oh this could be fun. I love this. Still me, but a version of me that has just a little more, hey, I'm cool. I can be a professional and like let's work. Let's roll. Yeah, probably veering off track here, but I think that is the best way to stand out. There's no shortcut, there's no gimmick. You'll hear a couple casting directors say they actually don't like improv.
Oh,
I
wow.
have always found that adding a little something is good. I think it's good. As long as you're smart about it and it stays in the world and the proper universe that this commercial that you're auditioning for is in. I like it. I like improv. I like showing a little bit about myself. Sometimes in the self tapes, it's like, do one to script. Well, then for God's sake, do it to script. But then 9 times out of 10, there's a second and they'll say, then do it again. Use words like variation, show some variation, or make it your own, or give us a little personality. That means like fill the world in with what you might say. And it to keep it natural, keep it real. I try not to be too on the nose with my improv. Like whatever the product is, say the product is chapstick. I'm not going to be like, oh, and I really love this chapstick. Like that's not improv, right? Like it's just going to be a little something maybe about how I use it in my daily life or why I like the smell because it reminds me of strawberry shortcake when I was a kid or just a little something, Jessica.
Oh, that's great. I'm
Again, it goes
learning a
back
little
to being
something.
yourself. Huh?
I'm learning a little something right now to help me with my commercial auditions.
There you go. There you go. Yeah. So I guess it all comes back to authenticity though, because what
Mhm.
would you authentically say in that moment?
Do you remember your very first commercial that you booked?
Yes. And it was from that theater in Phoenix. And the local Warner Brothers channel did like these PSAs, like mini after school specials. And I was a thief. I was 13 and I was shoplifting. And then I don't know why. I was cast as like the ugly stepsister. I was like evil, this or that. And then I was the thief. So I guess I was Rumpelstiltskin one year, who's like real bad.
Oh,
Anyways,
wow.
so the goody goody girl was like, I don't want to steal the lipstick. And I'm like, here, put it in your purse. And like we had this great little, that was my first commercial. And I thought people would think I was cool. And I got ridiculed at school. People made fun of me. I know.
Wow.
Maybe looking back, maybe they were just jealous. So that was my
Yeah,
very first commercial.
I'm assuming because I've seen like other actors auditions where they said that they got something and then they were made fun of in school, and it just doesn't make sense to me. Like how does that lead to you being bullied when really I would be like, oh my gosh, this is so cool, and I would try and talk to that person.
I don't know. Maybe it's just that like kid thing where it's like you think it's cool, but you want it to be like, no, take it away.
All
Well,
right, pretty much just like I'm not gonna make you think you're cool because you weren't cool before.
some way.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I had a hard time in high school. And then my mom, after my freshman year in public high school, my mom let me switch to a performing arts charter. Yay. Island of Misfits again.
Well, this time you were with like-minded people, which is so much better.
And then we celebrate each other. Like, oh my
Hmm.
God, you're doing Grease. Oh, you're doing West Side Story. Oh, all good.
And what's the very first narrative project, film or TV?
I'm like, what narrative? Who? Film or television? Very first.
Yeah.
Well, I love how you're such about origin stories. This is fun. The very first, when I got to LA, that I booked that wasn't extra work, because me and everybody else did central casting, when I first got here, was an ID discovery non-union recreation show.
I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
I might have done a short film or two, but are you talking like really origin, like back in Arizona? Like I got involved in Phoenix Film and I did like
I
20
mean,
short films with them.
whichever you consider, because I mean, I have my own like first for each thing. My first short, my first indie feature, my first background. Like I have
Yeah,
my
I
first for
mean,
like every category.
I guess my first full-length feature film was in Arizona, and it was called Life in Transit. It was a really sweet story. A lot of the story took place on a bus. I was the lead with another young man who was the lead. It was a very sweet film. I had a lot of fun. Again, I was like, these are my people. Oh my God, these are my people. And then I used to do a lot of those film challenges. Have you ever heard of those? Like 48-hour
Oh
film
yeah,
challenge,
yeah, yeah,
24-hour
yeah.
film challenge.
48-hour film
I
festival.
did
Yeah.
so many of those and we had such a ball. Oh my God, it was so fun. I loved those. And then yeah, when I got to LA, my first like professional paying, like, oh my God, I'm on set as like a character was for ID Discovery. Because you don't come out of the womb union, Jessica.
Yeah.
I landed here non-union. Well, I was SAG eligible because I was an extra in a movie that came to film in Arizona. It was called Take Me Home Tonight. And have you seen it?
I know of it. I know of it.
Yeah, it's like an 80s party movie. And
Yeah.
this is a fun story. So they came to Arizona. It's Anna Faris, Chris Pratt when they met, Topher Grace, Teresa Palmer, great cast. They came to Arizona and they were looking for extras. So they put a bunch of us in a gym and we were dressed in 80s clothes and they're like, okay, dance. And then the director, who his name was Michael Dowse, he had done FUBAR and he comes walking around with his crew, looking at everybody and casting us in different categories. And I was with my friends thinking we're all cool. And they all got cast as popular chicks. And I'm the one who got cast as a nerd. Here we go again. So I'm like learning my character ways, right? So I'm in the nerdy crowd and my girlfriends get stuck in the popular crowds. Anyway, so we all get a part as extras in this movie. And the whole movie is set at this party. So we're shooting. I used to have a day job in Arizona and I'd work 8 to 5 or 6 and then go to set at like 7 and stay on set till 3 or 4 a.m. in the morning and then do it again for weeks. It was insane. I was young. Anyway, so while we're on set, the assistant director throws us all up on like a balcony and they're all talking down there and we're like, okay, what are they talking about? And he goes, okay, we need to pull a few principal roles from you guys. And the whole time I'm on set as an extra, I'm listening. I'm quiet because I'm noticing everybody else who's pissing off production because they're being annoying. I stay in my lane. But when I'm joking with the second AD or whatever, we're having like actual fun human moments, but then I lock it up because I'm a theater kid. I understand when the show is on. So when they were like, okay, we need to fill some principal roles, everybody freaks out, raises their hand, oh my God, pick me, pick me. By the way, my nickname on that movie was Mom Pants because I was wearing really high-waisted pants. So everyone knew me as Mom Pants. And he's like, okay, who can cry? Who can just sob? And I like raised my hand. He's like, oh, good, Mom Pants, come on down. Taft-Hartley me right then and there. And I got a line and a scene and it became SAG eligible. Sadly, the little scene got cut from the film, but I still get the credit as a principal and I still got better treatment on set and I got more money and I got Taft-Hartley. So when I came to LA, I was already SAG eligible. But that never happens. Like you hear those stories of someone plucked from a crowd of 300 extras, but it happened to me. But it wasn't random. Jessica. It was because I'd shown that very AD that I knew how to be a professional. And that also, when they asked if I could cry, I wasn't going to be humble and be like, maybe, maybe. I knew I could freaking cry. Raised my freaking hand. Come on down. That's how it happened for me.
Oh my gosh, that's like a dream that I wish would happen to me.
Well, stay pro, act pro, be good.
You've worked across, commercials, indie projects, and well-known films and TV shows. And what are the biggest differences between each of these worlds that aspiring actors or anyone outside of this field may not know?
I love that as a question. My instincts wants to say really not a lot because if you're a happy actor, a generous actor, and a good actor, well, put me in front of whatever kind of camera, stage, field, garage you want to put me in. I'm going to show up and be good. Show up and be good. Are those two answers? That's good. I've heard people say like, "Oh, I can't do I can't do commercials because I'm focused on TV and film." And I'm like, okay. I'm crying to the bank when really awesome commercial paychecks, but cool, 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 cool. Good for you. Or people who, oh, I only do commercials because I'm not ready. I can't do like film. And I'm like, couldn't you? Couldn't you? Commercials are hard, man. Commercials, and I've said this to you before, but it's like 30 seconds, 60 seconds total. So your screen time might be 6 seconds, 10, 12 if you're lucky. And you have to tell a story, beginning, middle, and an end, sometimes without even talking. If you can do that, you could do an indie film, TV show. You can do any of it. So when people say differences, when it comes down to like the core ability, there are none, in my opinion. Sure, there's a lot of technical things that you learn, but how do you learn them without doing them? You can take all the classes in the world, and it is important to take classes. I love casting director workshops. Because especially when you're trying to get intel on these casting directors, who better to get it from than them or their associates in a workshop? And then I know that this casting office doesn't like costumes. Oh my God, don't wear a costume. Just look appropriate. Oh, this casting office loves costumes. Oh, they love props too? Cool. I'm going to remember that when I audition for them. This office never use a prop or die. Okay, going to remember that from when I'm in that office. So there's like little things like that, technical things, pacing changes, but that just comes with understanding your medium.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm doing a horror film and the bad guy's creeping up on me and I'm trying to build tension. Am I going to be quick on the lines and skip that tension? No, I'm going to be smart about the content and the genre. But if it's a show that I know is like St. Dennis Medical and it's pretty quick, it's a little like The Office, a little like Parks and Rec, a little like Superstore. Am I going to be a little quicker on the line? Sure, in an audition, right? So there's technical things, but when it comes down to it, no, actors got to act.
And with so many auditions being self-taped now, do you think that it's still necessary for actors to move to LA like they used to, or has that changed?
I mean, that's like the $1,000 question, right? And I'm not an authority on it, so I can't really tell. I know a lot of actors who've moved out of LA over the pandemic and the strikes and the fires and like terrible things that have happened. I know a lot of people who've moved away and they're still taping. I know Atlanta is super hot right now. I know someone who lives in Oklahoma who's killing. Utah, New Mexico. So we're definitely not the only place to be an actor anymore. But if you're asking me from a commercial point of view, that is a different because we are back in person. From what I've experienced as a union actor, there's a lot of offices back in person. And you know you don't get 24 hours notice before your audition. So unless you've got a credit card open to make last minute red eye flights, you can get to 200 South by 10 a.m. You got to be local for commercials, I would say. But TV and film, I don't know. I mean, some I've seen when I get an audition and I look at the spec, there's big bold letters, LA locals only. Please do not audition if you are not an LA local. Because, and I learned this with Matlock, like you might have to fit the very next day. And you're fitting, maybe then you're thinking, okay, I can go back home to San Francisco and be okay. Oh no, we need you back. Can you get back here at 4? And I'm on a Southwest plane to San Francisco. Or like I'm driving back to Colorado and yeah, I'll be there by 4. It's just so when you see it on a breakdown, it says LA locals only. Please decline this audition. If you don't live in LA, just decline the audition. There'll be another one. But you know, there's a lot more reps now that focus on national representation. They'll submit you in Utah and Albuquerque and Nashville. Like there's Nashville 911. I know actors who are in Nashville or surrounding areas who are killing it with that show because they're local in Nashville. I'm not going to be the first one in line for that. Or even the Chicagos. I know that they go to Chicago local actors as much as they can, as they should, because those actors are kick ass and they deserve to be, you know, kind of in the front of the line for their local shows. So it's not just LA anymore. I found a really hard time, you know, and auditioning for Toronto and Vancouver and just wherever grow where you're planted, Jessica. I guess what I'm saying. But when it comes to self tapes and thinking you're just going to get a random lead role for a self tape, you know, self tape for a lead role out of the blue, especially if you're someone like me, like mid 40s, regular lady, like they're going to find that where they are. If you've got something very special about you, if you fill a role that they cannot find locally and they spread out and you're that person, rad. It's awesome. But yeah, if you're basic AF like me, you kind of, you know, go where the most opportunities are.
So you mentioned declining the audition if you see LA local hire, and I know I've talked to like a few actors or heard from actors about how you get really scared about declining an audition for whatever reason. It doesn't have to be, oh, because it's a LA local, or let's say it's the character does something that you are highly uncomfortable with, or for whatever reason, maybe you're booked out that day or whatnot. You have to decline, and you're sometimes, I know I've gone through that where I'm a little bit scared to decline because it's it's a fully job loss right there. I mean, what's your take on that for having to decline
There are
and
very
dealing
good
with it?
reasons to decline. Nudity, sure. Something that you're uncomfortable with that really crosses a line for you personally, go ahead and decline. Not being a local, when they specifically say you must be like a Utah local hire, a true local hire, like, am I willing to fly there and get myself a hotel room? Then sure, I won't decline that. But if they're like, you must live in Utah, like, I'm going to decline it because I'm not a liar and I'm not gonna lie to you. I've heard that casting way more appreciates that than someone who's trying to pull a fast one and say I live in LA when I live in Colorado. And then they find that out. I think that's way more damaging than simply being like, oh, sorry, I see you want locals only. Thanks again. Please consider me in the future. No harm there. Like none. No bridge burned, right? Lying, bridge burned.
How about
Other
with
circumstances.
agents? Because then agents are like, we want you to say yes to everything, but you're declining from
Well,
like the
your agent shouldn't be submitting you for things that you're not honestly.
I had that situation where I had to decline something that just didn't work for me, and then the
How
person
did
was
it
like,
not work for you?
because it was a very, very low paid job, and it was doing theater in LA, and I would have to like pay out of pocket for months to be there to do theater.
Yeah, that's
And
rough.
that is something that I had said up front that hey, I can do theater where I live locally because that's like a months long commitment, but I can't do that in Los Angeles since I don't have residence there. And then
Well,
that's something that I brought up like up front. And then they
that's
came
kind of
back
on your rep then.
it's like, and then they came back with, this is somebody that I was like, I was having a meeting with, a prospect. And at first they were like, okay, yeah, cool. Yeah, we completely understand. And then they came back with, so there's a theater audition. And I was like, I literally just told you.
Well, like, let's not hate on them because they're probably talking to hundreds of actors all day and they're not going to remember Jessica's like one thing.
But it was like a conversation that happened like 2 hours ago. And then they were like, sorry, we can't work with you then because you said no to this one thing. And I'm like, I,
That's weird. That's kind of a red flag. That's kind of weird. I mean, they don't sound like they're worth their spit. But yeah, okay, I get that. And you brought up a good point though. As long as you're very clear about it from the beginning and there's no real surprises, like if I tell my rep that I'm fine with nudity and simulated sex, so they get me an audition for nudity and simulated sex, and then I'm like, oh, I don't do that. Well, that's Annie, why don't you tell them when they asked, are you able to travel to Canada at a moment's notice? And I'll say when I'm not before I get those auditions. I'll say, hey guys, I'm booked out for international travel for the next month because my son is recovering from the flu. Like whatever. Communicate, communicate, communicate. Don't be afraid. This is such a fear-based business, and that makes me so sad. I'm scared to tell my agent this. I'm scared to do this or turn this down. I'm scared. It's like, let go of that. You cannot let the fear run this job, but you can communicate. Thinking of things that we can control can be upfront, set our boundaries easily and early, put them in writing in an email so they can refer back to them easily. Not taking a job for the money when you're starting out. And this is separate from your theater thing. That makes complete sense. But say your rep got you a short film in Seattle and it paid $100 for the entire show or the entire run of the short film. Freaking do it. You know
yeah.
why? Because footage is priceless. And if you're building a reel and someone gives you an opportunity to tell a story and then they're gonna give you that story on camera, like take it. That's great. Student films, web series, la 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 la. Like don't ever decline those because you think you're too good for them, especially when you're starting out. I don't know if I've ever declined something. I've seen actors decline auditions, in-person commercial auditions for huge brands because they had a dentist appointment. I'm like, you moved that GD dentist appointment. Move that appointment. Go ahead. It's okay. Your root canal will, like, I have a hard time with that. I have a hard time with, and I get it. People have survival jobs. People have families. I have a family and my little boy is perfect and wonderful, happens to be disabled. And I've never, and I looked at this, I was talking to an actor the other day who was late on her tape again. And she was like, oh, I have to ask for an extension. And I'm like, girl, what are you doing? What are you doing? You have like 4 days. What are you doing? I have never been late, and this isn't a brag. Maybe it is. Maybe it's a flex. That's not what the kids say. I've never been late on a deadline, and I've never missed an audition since I've arrived in Los Angeles. Commercial, indie, short, feature, TV, co-starred to series regular, ever. And I think it takes that kind of commitment. I declined international travel when I couldn't do it. Yep. Declined nudity I didn't want to do. Yep. The audition that I agreed to and that I had, never been late. And casting knows that, and that's why I get lots of auditions.
So to take away from this is definitely be communicative with your agent. But referring to my situation, that was like a completely weird, odd situation. So yeah. So
Yeah,
there
I
that's
wouldn't.
a red flag. But being communicative with your agent, and if you have to decline, it's very situational based
Yeah,
on like the person and what is happening with the project. Like it's very situational.
yeah, it is. But like, I mean, people are declining for the silliest reasons, Jessica, I'm seeing. And it makes me shake my head. People are declining because say they get an audition and the role says 50s but I'm 43. I'm not going to do it. They're not looking for me.
Oh, well, that's
Are you insane? Are you crazy? They don't know what they're looking for until you show them what they're looking for.
yeah, that's
And they're
not a
not
reason to
dead set
decline.
on, not a right reason to decline. Or it'll be like, oh, even some people get even more egotistical about it. And it'll be like quirky, not a model, blah, blah, blah. And then people will be like, well, I'm too attractive for that. I'm not quirky. I'm not one of the quirky people. And then they decline. Or vice versa. And they're like, we need attractive people. Hey, send us your, cute, whatever. And then they're like, oh, that's not me. I'm going to decline. Like, don't ever decline if you get the audition, it's because they want to see you and what you might bring to this role that is not even filled yet. I'm seeing people decline for these super weird reasons. And I'm like, it's like they think they know better than casting, or they think they know better than your rep who submitted you. I take out, and I can't tell you how many roles I booked, Jess, TV, film, biggest, smallest, that I was like, oh, I am not right for this. How bizarre. So I give them whatever I have and I book it.
Mm.
Weird.